Welcome back to the next episode of the eCom Growth Show. I'm your host, Danon Coleman, founder of eCom Triage, co-founder of Catalog Defender, and I've got somebody from outside the Amazon space to talk about Shopify. Sheldon, welcome to the show, and would you please give us a little introduction as to who you are and what you do?
Yeah, happy to do so. Thanks for having me on, Danon. I am Sheldon Adams, head of growth at Enavi. We are a Shopify conversion rate optimization agency. We get really nerdy with this stuff in making Shopify stores a little bit more efficient on a user by user basis, get a little bit more revenue from everyone coming in the front door so you can be more efficient and then sync that back in and handle all the challenges of profit optimization, everything on in the Shopify world.
I like it. So I figured on this one because we could go so deep on so many different things about Shopify, and you could just start teaching us how to get started and all that stuff. We're going to bypass that, I think. I believe that this episode is going to be for the people that understand that they need and or want to be on Shopify, and maybe we can give them some high-level shortcuts on like, hey, don't go screw up over here. Instead, learn over here, kind of a thing. So I've got a list of, I do this on every episode, a list of about 5 questions that I want to ask you. And then if you could just give us like a condensed version of the answer and then qualify and explain each one. And let's start off with, keep it simple initially and then explain. I do have some experience myself. I have built a couple of Shopify websites. I've built a few WooCommerce websites, which are WordPress websites for those of you listening. So I should understand enough of what Sheldon is saying to be able to ask a few decent questions. But Sheldon, I'm going to dive right into this question number 1 if you're ready.
Yeah, let's go.
All right, cool. Where do you see most Shopify stores fall flat during, like, speaking of the user experience and getting started and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. The simple version is they have 1,000 things they could do, and they have no idea how to prioritize it. It's really easy to chase shiny new objects, try to get really complex funnels, add a bunch of apps, and it just kind of adds complexity. And if there's no source of truth on what's working and what's not, you can just burn through cash and time and energy. And then you kind of feel exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, top level, I think that's the thing that people come to us all the time and they are like, man, we've tried everything. We're exhausted. Nothing works. What can we do? And that's where I have so many conversations like that. I'm like, all right, let's take a step back. Let's get a source of truth. Like, let's figure out, like, is the whole site broken? Or is it, hey, like really motivated users, they can get through. Like they're able to purchase just fine and give you money. And it's someone who is arriving who is not pre-sold. They've never heard of you before. They're not sure why to buy the product from you versus 10 other stores that like you. Maybe they don't convert well at all. And that's a totally different problem to solve. Like as long as
Totally
on one
different
hand,
audience as well.
yeah, and you kind of have to like understand and be able to infer from the data, and it can tell you like, okay, my site does really well with motivated returning users, people like repeat buyers, rock solid. There are no UX issues, nothing stands in their way. We just want to like, frankly, get out of the way, then let them buy. Then you have like new, colder audiences that you have to be hitting to grow your business. But most, I wouldn't say most, almost all Shopify stores are not built for that audience. And if you don't actively tailor it to them, you're never going to convert them. And that's what makes like the Facebook ads or Google ads, everything very, very expensive to acquire a customer.
So let's dive down on that just a little bit. After helping how many stores? Give me a ballpark.
Call it 100. Yeah.
Okay. After looking at 100 stores, you probably have recognized some of these patterns where people have come to you. What are they doing wrong?
There are so many ways I could go with that. The core ones, no one has the fundamentals right. We did a benchmark report earlier this year. We continue to do this. I think it was 9.4% of stores we looked at actually achieved like a target rate for how users flow through the site. So they're, I don't know, it's like trying to do trick plays in football when you can't run the football between the tackles. Like you need to have foundational setups of like getting a user from landing on a site to doing a product, to getting in a cart, so on and so forth. And if you get too exotic with it too quickly and don't know which step you're even going wrong on, you can get crossways really, really quick.
Makes sense. I have been saying this for probably the better part of a decade, if not more, that the fundamentals, when it comes to Amazon, the fundamentals are their foundation, right? That fundamentals foundation in this world is their interchangeable terms. You've got to have them in place. Otherwise, you have no structure to build from. So you're finding exactly the same thing on Shopify is you got to learn those fundamentals. And so where could one learn? Where would one go to learn the fundamentals of Shopify so they don't screw it up from the get-go?
Boy, we might need a few hours for that one. No, I think there are a million great places you can go. I mean, from the UX side, from the data side, from the advertising side. I mean, on our standpoint, it is very foundational. Like we try to stress like an analytically driven foundation, like our whole intra-site funnel concept, which we put a ton of content out on that, at least gives a language so that people can start to see like, okay, my product pages are not cutting the mustard, or my cart experience is way too complex. And you can start to understand that. So I think that's where like I definitely can, I mean, share resources, guide people to resources, but that's where like, if you can start to get those like particular behaviors in isolation, a lot of this stuff falls into place once you know that and know your customer. Like if you have a good sense of what they need, it's pretty easy to tailor it over time. It just, you can't rely on assumptions, basically.
Got it. Okay. All right, cool. And this, I think this leads fairly well into our next question. Why do you say that most ecom, we were talking beforehand, why do you say that most ecom stores are flying blind? What do you mean by that?
Yeah, that, again, short version, it is a wave of change the last few years. Google Analytics going from Universal Analytics to GA4 was a
Yeah.
seismic shift.
Yeah.
And the probably 9 out of 10 stores have far less knowledge now than they did before on how sites performing on site, any independent metrics outside of like in platform, Meta, Google, Whale, Northbeam, any of those types of attribution softwares. They're just like it's rock bottom knowledge. So if someone comes to us and they're like, "Hey, how is our site doing? Like our conversion rate's 1.5%. Is that good?" I don't know. Like it could be terrible. So many variables depend on that, and that's like really the only thing they use to analyze.
And if I'm not mistaken, Shopify will give you their own metrics, but do you recommend also integrating Google Analytics into your Shopify site? You do.
We definitely do. Like the Shopify analytics have gotten a heck of a lot better, but it's very tough to drill down. And that's where
Mm,
like a lot of times we almost never look at global metrics, just to be very clear there. Like a global store conversion rate to us is
use-
effectively useless.
useless. Yeah.
There's just too many differences there, and the stores are not super analytics within the Shopify stores are not super well set up for, okay, how is email and SMS traffic? Like, how is that doing for my shop versus direct users versus paid users, so on and so forth. So we very much are proponents of using GA4, specifically the funnel explorations, so we can at least see from like step 1 to step 2, where are we losing people? What's going on? How does it differ by channel, by device type? just to really narrow down on what you can do.
Yeah. So this is an interesting thing that for those of you listening to this right now, Sheldon just dropped like 11 bombshells that you didn't even know was possible if you have only sold on Amazon. Google Analytics, I mean, not only can they tell you, well, first of all, they can tell you the operating system, the device type, the location, details of the individual, like their age range or age bracket, their, if I'm not mistaken, even depending on what you've got set up, their income bracket. And so you can get so granular with the details of who's coming to your website that you can pinpoint precisely the type of person that is converting. Now, with that being said, Google Analytics, I was once many years ago, 20 plus years ago, had my own agency where I did local SEO and I did Google Analytics and stuff like that. Now, I don't know nothing about Google Analytics compared to what it was when I started. Like, you could just see like, oh, it's from YouTube, it's from Google, it's from your social. And even the social was new, because social media was kind of new back then. But so what you're saying is that by having this all set up, you can drill down into exactly not only who's coming there, but who you're losing and where you're losing them. And then you work backwards to locate the problem. It sounds like that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's like have defined ranges of, hey, if someone lands on a homepage, we want 50% of those users to get to view a product. If they're on a product page, we want 12 to 18% of those to add it to cart, and so on and so forth.
That'd
And
be
then we
awesome.
can develop, yeah. Which I mean, it's all with that. Like we have these massive internal data sets to actually derive all those ranges, and then we can start to say like, okay, if it's a like email and SMS, they should be way higher. They should be like 20%. If it's paid
Mm.
social, they're a little bit colder. That should be like 6 to 8%. And if we're underperforming on any of those ranges, we can like, okay, let's invest some time into why is the meta traffic not doing anything? Like, is it the landing page experience? Is there a mismatch between the ad creative and the landing experience? What's going on there? And start to just narrow down the number of variables that could be at play, because there are so many in e-com, as we all know.
Yeah. Yeah. And for an Amazon seller, this is a whole new world. Like, on Amazon, the marketing is all done for you. You don't have to worry about driving traffic. You don't have to worry about funnel designs. You don't have to worry about page designs. You just have to worry about your images, your videos, and the structure of your content within a very well defined structure. Like how you, the way you, what words you put in a very defined structure. And Amazon sends you bajillions of traffic. Now, when you move on to Shopify, not only do you have to learn how to properly build these pages so that it's all the way down, it's art. It's the art of the sale online. You got to have the right message going to the right page, delivering the right next message, and the eye trail go to the right spot to make a buying decision, to go add the cart, to get the credit card, blah 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 blah. And it's all going to be such, ideally, the smoothest thing in the world, because on Amazon, you say buy it now. On Shopify, you get an ad or an organic search result, and you go, hey, I think that's what I'm looking for. Click, go to whatever page it is, scroll, read around. Like the customer journey is like 10 times longer. And if I had to put a random number on it. So, okay, cool. This is, man, we could go so deep on this, and I want to try to keep it high level and simple for the people that don't have any Shopify experience. I'm just lucky that I've got a bit of a background in SEO and understand conceptually what you're talking about. Nah, I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, because otherwise it'll get too complicated. I'm going to go into the next question that I prepared for you. All right. So most stores only look at conversion rate to judge their performance. What other metrics should they be tracking, and how do you help a brand that's drowning in data to figure out what actually matters? And this would absolutely apply to an Amazon seller. They'd just look at conversion rate, I think.
Yeah. I mean, this goes back to what we said a little bit ago. Conversion rate by itself, super deceptive. Like the traffic quality, seasonality, promotions, all of that can totally skew it.
Mhm.
That is very much why we preach that. We call it the intra-site funnel approach, but it's looking at those micro steps. So getting like viewing a product, adding it to cart, going from cart to checkout to purchase. That gives you a direction that no one else, no global metric really allows. So like that to me is the foundational thing that people have to nail, and like to really drill into that. That is when we do those benchmark reports. That's where we see like 70% of Shopify stores struggle with product discovery, which we define as wherever they land on site to actually viewing a product, which is kind
Mhm.
of absurd to think about. You're on an e-commerce site and you're not viewing a product. But that's where like the merchandising, the product grids, the site search, the navigation, all that can totally impede a user. And they're like, you know what? Screw it. I'm out. I'll go do something else with my life.
Yeah.
And so you can, absolutely improve just by making that process easier can yield fantastic results. Same thing on a product page. Like many stores, if you're a founder and someone's like, hey, should I buy this product or not? You can give them a damn good sales pitch. Like they can, exactly their mindset, like what motivates them, what they're anxious about. You generally know why buy from your brand versus any other competitor.
Mhm.
And then you get to a site and none of that is actually present on the product page.
Yeah.
So how do you like weave that into the first like 800 pixels on a mobile device? So tough. And I actually steal a ton of ideas from Amazon sellers on that for like selling within the gallery and like infusing those little things in quick ways.
Yeah, so that is definitely something I would say that Amazon sellers really excel at is on when someone does a keyword search, there's 20,000 results. Now they're only showing 40 or 50 at a time, but there's still 20,000 results. So there's got to be what we call a scroll stopper, something that instantaneously piques their interest. And you've got something like zero point 0.8 seconds to do that, or zero point 0.7 seconds to do that. So that is something that I will say that our community is quite good at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and on the other side, people in your space are good at driving traffic, you know? So we're pretty decent at creating conversions and have no idea how to drive traffic. And you guys are good at driving traffic or good at figuring out how to drive traffic and need help on the conversion side of things. You have to build the client's dream of, I wonder, I have this problem, I need this solution, and build the, oh, I've just been led straight to my solution, I'll get that.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. If I can, whenever I can get a brand to this, like a customer having the a realization of like, oh my God, like where has this product been? This, like, I have needed this.
Yes.
We can get there. Like we have absolutely crushed it and they're
Yeah.
about to flourish.
Yeah. 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 I love it. Okay, cool. Next question. There's an enormous amount of stuff that you can do with a Shopify site. Where do we start? What can we focus on that's going to matter?
Yeah. That is sort of the eternal question. It's the one that we try to solve in every conversation I have with the brand and everything that we do. And that is basically it's to determine which 25% of your site is underperforming the most and which 75% is doing okay enough that you can kind of like safely push it to the side and you keep tabs on it. You make sure nothing's really on fire, but you can kind of ignore it for like a quarter and really, really go deep. And that's to me, like if we do nothing else but that for a brand, we've already helped them win because we are giving them the safety of you can ignore like your mental energy doesn't need to worry about all of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And that's right. When we press into it, like we call it a metric on fire. that's the thing that unlocks, like in our conversion rate optimization programs, like all of our research, all of our A/B testing, it goes towards that metric on fire. It's solving that problem, and then you're just like disproportionately turning, like you have a lever that is disproportionately valuable because everything you're doing is solving the biggest problem in the store. It's just the most stores have no idea what that is. And if you ask them, like, hey, what do you need to do to improve the site? You're going to get like 30 different answers. Most of them probably aren't going to go anywhere.
Mm.
So, yeah, when we can go miles deep, but fairly like in a narrow scope, that is huge. And I mean, we have a mile long track record of results that support that. And that's why we operate the way we do. But yeah, that's single biggest thing is that just that focus.
Makes sense. Well, I know that, I mean, most people, even Amazon sellers, they're always looking for the tricks, the hacks, right? But very few of them actually have their fundamentals in place and have a properly built page, like truly optimized. And I would wager that the vast majority of your clientele that comes in, you kind of have to start there. It's like, okay, let's fix what's wrong, or not necessarily, maybe not even wrong, but just not done right all the way. Like I could build a Shopify website probably in about 30 minutes, right? A one product website in about 30 minutes. I take a template from the Shopify store. I put a title, a description with 2 bullet points, a couple of pictures, maybe one picture, and then I put it live. Or I put time into a title that hooks them, you know, and a description that converts them, and images that show them exactly what they want to see in terms of, does this thing do this thing, right? And that takes time and effort and background knowledge about your ideal customer. What are they searching for? It's not just keywords. It's also what is being solved, or what feature. Again, what feature does it have? But then again, at the end of the day, that feature solves something. And so it sounds well, I'm just repeating everything you said to try to make it more simpler, but let me ask you this. Could an Amazon seller that has no Shopify experience, could they come to you for help, or do you or only work with established Shopify?
For us, we could absolutely provide, some guidance there. But, like we are exclusively a Shopify agency.
Mhm,
Really, the only time we venture out there is if a brand is about to migrate to Shopify and wants to get a
mhm,
little light out of the curve.
mhm.
In terms of like, yeah, the foundational stuff, or like, hey, here's how we think about getting to know a customer. Absolutely. Yeah, that's I think where we're most helpful.
Okay. And you said you do a lot of content. Where can people find that content?
Ideally, just about every day on LinkedIn. I know that algorithm's a little funky, but yeah, myself and then our founder and CEO, Anthony, we are forever trying to inject kind of more elevated discussions around this and adjacent topics that we cover, and we give away so much from like resources, or like it helps us kind of crystallize things in our
Yeah.
mind. And so we are huge proponents of give first, and then when the time comes, let's actually chat and have a more developed conversation.
All right, I like it. And then where can people find you, Sheldon? LinkedIn, aside from LinkedIn, how do they find out more about you and your company?
Yeah, I think easiest one, enavi.co, because .com is apparently like $10,000 still.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, that's our side. Like we happy to have those sorts of conversations. Like we love having, even if someone's like, hey, we're a Shopify store and we're at like 3 million bucks, might be a little early for a conversation, but we love to have those chats and be like, hey, here's some direction. Then when the time is right and it just makes absolute sense, let's work together and add so many of those like value adds, share those guides, share those anything we talked about today. We like to get that up front.
Right on. Well, thanks, Sheldon, for being on the show and bringing some value. And I hope you get some more people to help out of this.
Likewise. Yeah. Appreciate you having me on, Dan, and been fun.
All right. See you later. Bye, everybody. Thanks for listening in. Mom, I know you're the only one that listens all the way through. Thanks. See you later.